I feel like people rarely talk about Max Payne 3. It's one of those games that seems to just be ignored and forgotten by the mainstream. Now, that partly could be because it's 10 years old and hasn't seen a new entry since, but neither is GTA. For a Rockstar game, I do think it's interesting that it hasn't been widely discussed for a while, and so I decided I should maybe give it another go and see if it's as good as I remember it being, because I remember it being good. But it has been 10 years, and maybe I was just completely wrong. I have no idea. Now, I should tell you, I never played Max Payne 1 or 2, although I'm sure I will soon given the remakes are in development. But I guess I can't give you a take on how this lives up to those entries. But I'm gonna take 2 stabs in the dark, and you can just decide which one is right. Max Payne 3 takes everything that made Max Payne so iconic and pushes it to a new level with added depth and creates an overall superior experience. Or Max Payne 3 departs from what made the series so iconic to begin with in favour of something a bit more mainstream with questionable execution that makes the game pretty disappointing. It's one of the two, isn't it? Now, as Rockstar games go, this is definitely a different sort of beast to GTA or Red Dead, but back in the day, Rockstar used to make a whole plethora of games. Some, of course, were only in part by Rockstar, like LA Noire, which would be a great game for a video one day, but back on track. Max Payne 3 is a linear, chapter-based game that takes you from level to level through dense and exciting set pieces as the story unfolds. It's a game that I find personally quite refreshing in this day and age. We have so many open worlds and RPGs and online experiences. Like, a standard level-based single-player linear game feels pretty good to run through, especially one you can beat so quickly. It took me just under 8 hours, which is kind of crazy, but in my old age, I admire that. Too many games try to be 40 plus hours, and not every game needs that. Give me a detailed and well-crafted 8-hour game, I can really vibe with that. The core of Max Payne 3, I feel, though, isn't the story. Unlike Uncharted, this game has a story, but like, I'm not sure what the consensus is, so I'm worried I might be upsetting an army of fans who think Max Payne 3 has the most insightful and interesting story ever, but I mean,
what do you think you were really doing in Panama?
I was drinking.
The story of the game is simple, yet also really overcomplicated. To explain what I mean by this, the story itself doesn't have crazy amounts of depth. It's a basic action blockbuster approach. I imagine it's playing off of something like Die Hard. I wouldn't know though, as I've never actually seen Die Hard. This is just what I imagine the film is like. Max is a pretty classic action movie protagonist who's down on his luck and always drunk, but also kicks ass and says a lot of one-liners.
No one would be rebooting his system. Poor bastard.
What? He's fun, and I do enjoy the way the story is told, almost like a journal entry or a commentary of events as they happen. Whenever a major beat is going on, you'll have a voiceover from future Max sort of giving context, explaining his mental state at the time, or just making a joke, which I can appreciate. It's easily my favourite part of the story, just seeing Max go through this kind of wild ride of events and having dumb shit to say about what's happening all the time.
The Imperial Palace Hotel was a 5-star bona fide shithole. I needed to find out why guests were checking in by the busload and checking out by the bag load. It was Monday afternoon, and I'd already been thrown out of a party, gone to a strip club, and got into a bar fight. This latest midlife crisis was certainly ticking all the boxes. If someone had told me 6 months ago this was where my life was headed, I'd have ordered a double of whatever they were drinking, drunk it, then blown my head off.
He does have more to say though. There is some level of commentary on society as a whole. Capitalism, the crime world and shit. It's not the most in-depth commentary, but it's the sort of wit you come to expect from Rockstar when it comes to critiquing aspects of modern society.
The family we were protecting were local celebrities, rich parasites with delusions of humanity. So I guess I was finally about to go and experience the other side of Sao Paulo firsthand. The bit people try to ignore. The unpleasant memory they try to obliterate with cocktails and helicopters and parties and lines of blow. I knew there was another way in upstairs for the helipad. The little luxury runaround that kept the rich looking down on the poor literally as well as metaphorically.
I don't want to like beat for beat explain the story to you, but essentially Max is struggling with the loss of his family as the game explores more as it goes on, and ends up back in action as he becomes a private security guy for the Bronco family, a famous and rich family in Brazil. And over the course of the game, he tackles his drinking, confronts his past, falls into a mystery of lies, deceit and crime, and kills a lot of people. And if you're me, sometimes innocent people, because you react too quickly. I don't know why they had this creative choice during cutscenes, but during dialogue they just have random keywords pop up on the screen, and sometimes it's really fucking funny.
Well, despite your good fortune, you're still a decent man.
Am I?
The story is enjoyable though, and I did find myself having a good time, but not in a super deep, intriguing way, more of a, man, I can't wait to see who we shoot next sort of way. They do add a little element of mystery towards the end, which I can get behind, some detective type shit, and a few flashbacks across the game to flesh out Max for those who never played Max Payne 1 or 2, like me. And there's an element of diving a bit deeper into Max as a character, with the midpoint of the game having him change up his look and tackle things differently, which is a nice journey for him as a character. I also love the Heisenberg look he goes for. The story is fun, there's no fundamental flaws to it, it's just not anything to write home about. Not very ambitious, I guess you would say, but it works as it means to get the game moving, and I feel the journey is way more what's fun about Max Payne than getting to the end. Concluding the story is cool and it sort of ties everything up, but getting yourself there is where the game shines, because the gameplay is honestly fantastic. Max Payne is a shooty game, I guess you would say, but just the way this game is designed allows for such a wonderful gameplay flow that it makes simply playing the thing satisfying. Let's go ahead and lay it out. Each level consists of you running from A to B. Enemies show up in between you and your goal, and you have to shoot them and move on to reach the end. But what tears this game apart is that it's not your basic cover shooter, although you can play it like that. This game uses bullet time to change completely how you play. You'll be diving off of balconies, jumping from cover to cover, taking down 5 guys while falling out of the sky. The use of bullet time in this game just totally changes how you approach combat scenarios than you would do in a normal cover-based third-person shooter. It's far more about running and gunning than sitting and waiting, and this shit is not easy. It's hard. I died so many times at the start. You cannot take many hits. It's about having fast reactions, using bullet time correctly, and managing your environment as efficiently as possible to take down your foes, and my god, is it fun. Once you get into a rhythm, you feel like you're the one in control of the situation. Honestly, I just want to boot it up and play it all again, because the actual moment-to-moment combat is incredibly satisfying. It matters where you aim, which parts of the body you shoot, because they have reactions to bullet impact. If you shoot them in the leg, they trip and fall, and if they're on the ground but aren't dead, they'll shoot you from the floor, which encourages accuracy. And also, it feels incredibly satisfying to shoot people because of the way their bodies react to the bullet impact, which is concerning. There's tons of various weapons which all cause enemies to react differently to being shot, from shotguns to rifles to dual-wielding handguns and so much more. It's a great arsenal they have in this game. Shooting a whole room of guys and having the cinematic kill cam play is so damn entertaining, and they really play up the violence aspect of the game, which makes it even more stylish, which, like I said, is concerning. We enjoy this when you really think about it. Woven in between these encounters are action set pieces where the game funnels you into particular sequences, and they make you feel so powerful, sort of giving you a taste of what you can truly do if you master the gunplay. It's glorious. The amount of environmental interaction too is really staggering for a 2012 game like this. You're always destroying parts of cover or being exposed yourself. There's a lot going on, and it just adds to make every firefight feel intense and really capture that action blockbuster feel it's going for. Max Payne 3's combat is all about style, about doing things in the coolest way you can, and the game sort of pushes that on you too, with in-game achievements that pop up whenever you do something specific, which encourages different methods of play. Sorry, I know what it means, but it just made me laugh because my humor is pure brain rot at this point. In short, I think the game plays so well even today. It's aged wonderfully, and for a studio that is constantly criticized for their out-of-date game design, I really feel like Max Payne 3 shouldn't be included in that criticism. It's just so fun. It blends story and action with proper video game design. It's a game that is fun without needing a story to make it fun. But I do love the added context from the story. Outside of the gunplay, it makes it actually interesting to explore these levels. They're designed with immaculate detail. I mean, we've come to know this from Rockstar, but dude, this game has so much going on. From well-realized crowds in public places to the back streets of New York City, the atmosphere they display in the swamp level, or the dense and alive streets of the Sao Paulo slums. There is so much diversity visually, and this game is just brimming with energy. It makes everything you do feel more impactful because it feels like you're in real cool locations. There's just a lot of small things you're able to interact with and feel a part of. When Max picks up pills, which are essentially an extra life, he'll make a comment that's usually story relevant too, which makes it feel like you were meant to grab them, as well as discovering clues around the world that adds more depth to the story, more context to what's happening, and makes you feel more directly involved as the player. There's little off the beaten track areas like Brewster's room in chapter 4, tons of little bits that are either funny or just add to the overall experience.
It made for interesting reading. If I'd been given a few more years looking into the bottom of a glass, I might have been on the same page.
You got TVs all over the game that you can turn on and listen to the news or watch an ad or some dumb cartoon.
In the blink of an eye, the trickster Sussy appeared.
Did he just say sussy? My brain is literally falling out my ears. It's all very Rockstar, and you can feel their handiwork coming out of this game, even though it's very different in design to something like Grand Theft Auto. And the detail doesn't just stop here. There are so many little things that I think in a game like this does wonders to just sell the experience. Things like the character model of Max being so varied and different depending on the context of the level. After jumping in a pool, he's wet for the rest of the level. After being shot in the arm, it's bleeding everywhere and the clothes are stained. All the way his clothes get slowly torn to pieces by the end of the final mission. Just stuff that makes it feel like you're really progressing through a series of events that have a direct effect on our main character in a way that we can observe. Your gun in the cutscenes shows up depending on what you were holding. If you had a larger two-handed weapon, you'll see him carrying it in one hand during the cutscenes, which is great detail. You've even got a cool little reload animation for your handgun if you're carrying a larger weapon in your other hand. It's just really nice. It's maybe too accurate because I run out of ammo, and then in this cutscene you can just see that the gun is completely empty, like he's aiming at him like he's gonna shoot him, but it's clearly empty, bro. You're not fooling anybody. There's even cool stuff like the creases on the back of his clothes just looking realistic and dynamic when you walk. I think these things do a lot to help a game not feel dated. You can really feel the care that went into the level design, set design, character design, and all the tiny things that make up those larger elements of this game. And I'm a sucker for unique death animations. If you fail in a particular way, you get a cool little sequence where you die, and they're kind of funny. I don't know why I like this in games. There's just something about it. I'm a huge fan. The game also has an arcade mode, which is a pretty fun excuse to just replay levels, trying to rack up points, although, I don't know about you, but I think this person's score is probably bullshit. And there's multiplayer, which I couldn't play because nobody but Crazed Soldier actually plays this thing anymore. Overall, this game was a bloody blast. Pardon the pun. But let me know what you think. I'm not clued in on Max Payne very well. I want to know what people who are big fans of the entire series think of Max Payne 3. Am I wrong? Is the game actually horrendously bad? Or is it good and I'm right? I don't know. Or is it good for different reasons and I'm still wrong? I don't know. I'm sure the YouTube comments will find a way to say that I am. I am, though, really looking forward to the Max Payne remakes for 1 and 2. I'm excited to see how they turn out and to get into those games and see if they feel like Max Payne 3, because if they do, then I'm on board, because this game was really fun. In the future, I would definitely love to check out some more old Rockstar titles. You know, LA Noire I think would be a great one for a video at some point, but we'll see. Let me know if you want that in the comments down below. I'd appreciate any recommendations, any suggestions, and any feedback on this video as well. If you enjoyed, though, don't forget to drop a sub, like the video, because it helps it in the algorithm. Check out some of my other stuff. I do a bunch of different things here, so give it a watch. You might have fun. I don't know. Just a suggestion, I guess. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers over at patreon.com/AsAlways. If you want to join them, you can. You get your name there. If you're a producer, but thank you very much, keeping things afloat and helping me take a little bit more time to work on videos, which is really, really nice. I appreciate you guys. And that's it for this video. I'll see you soon for something else. I'm trying to do a bit more of this, where I put out videos that are a bit quicker, a bit snappier, a bit more condensed, rather than doing big 2-hour long videos every single time I play through a game. It doesn't always have to be like that. Sometimes I can just sit down, put together a small fun video that still encapsulates what I had, the time that I have with the game, but is a bit less time consuming, so it allows me to upload a bit more. As we all know, that's what the algorithm fucking loves. Anyway, thank you for watching, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you very soon for something new. Bye bye.